Welcome, guys. Welcome to another one-on-one with AFROPOLiTAiN magazine. Today, our guest is the one and only Swaggy Mo. Swaggy, how are you? First of
I'm
all, how do you
great.
want me to call you? Mo?
Nah, Mo is cool.
Mo is cool?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
Mo is cool.
Mo is our guest today. How are you today, Mo?
I'm doing amazing. How you doing?
Good. You coming from LA? How's LA?
LA is great. I love the weather.
Love the weather.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if you could sell me a little line because I hate me some LA, but
Nah, I love LA. I love LA. I feel like LA, they should hire me as their ambassador because I speak about it so highly. I
okay.
love LA.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to give it another try then.
Yeah, you should. You
Okay.
should.
All right. Let's get started. So, Mo, you known, on social media for your bold style, your voice. How did you get into the wellness and the fashion industry? What was your journey coming into these two type of I would say topic?
Yeah. So for me, I've always loved fashion.
Okay.
For a really, really long time. But I felt like um when I was younger, I obviously couldn't afford it. So I was just like, and I was one of those people that like, I don't know, I feel like my mindset before was like, if I can't do it at a high level, I just rather not do it at all.
Yeah.
But my mindset definitely started to change after I got out of college. Actually, during college, that's when I first started modeling, and then from that point on forward, I just kind of like kept on like trying. I'm like, okay, let me experiment. So I actually had some crazy looks that I'm like, I look at it now, I'm like,
You might have to do
geez.
a little old school
Yeah,
post
I'm
Mo.
like, I don't know what I was thinking, but it was like you got to start from somewhere to get somewhere, you know.
That's
So
very true.
that was kind of like how I started into fashion. As the wellness part, I've always been very, very like big onto health, you
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I actually realized was like actually not what I realized, but I was born and raised in a village. Um, so I was a peanut farmer.
Okay. Peanut
So
farmer.
yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we literally used to farm with our hands and everything. So coming from that to the US, where it's like you are super intertwined with your food, like you
Yes.
literally are super involved throughout the process from like
Yeah.
sowing the seed to harvesting, to getting to the point where now you just go to the grocery store and just pick up. I was just like, I don't know. I don't really know where any of this food is really
Yeah.
coming from.
Yeah.
So because of that, it kind of like made me just so much more hyper focused on making sure that I know what I was consuming.
Yes.
And so I started trying with so many different diets, vegan, I went pescatarian, I did
You did
so
it all.
much, but it was only just because I realized what I was looking for was just to find good quality food,
Got
you
it.
know,
Got it.
and that was very difficult to find, especially living in New York. It was very, very difficult. Yeah.
I second that.
Yeah.
Finding very good quality food in New York is
It's-
either hell of expensive
oh,
or
It's different. It's difficult.
it is.
LA is like, I feel like being healthy in LA is like a lifestyle. Everybody is
Okay,
like,
everybody's
oh,
on it.
matcha, the acai bowls and stuff. In New York, I feel like if you're not in Manhattan, even Manhattan is a little bit difficult,
Yeah.
but in the Bronx is, that was a battle.
That was a battle.
Yeah,
All right,
that was-
all right. So we just talked about how you grew up in Africa, and also a part of your content is to let the folks know about the reality about living in the West.
Yeah.
How did you come into being real with that type of situation where how back home people wants to come to Europe, people comes to US, and you would have just like, folks, hold on, let me give you the real deal.
I feel like everybody, and I feel like every immigrant, but mostly African immigrants can relate to this because we have this concept of what America is like. They think here is just money. That's what and honestly, I thought that too. I
Yeah.
was like, man, you go to America, you just chill, there's money
just ballin'.
everywhere. I came in here, I was like, first of all, the apartment that I was living, I literally, as soon as I touched down to America, it's literally like, I don't use depression lightly, but like I was very
That was depressing.
I was very underwhelmed. I'm like, okay, you know, like in Africa, oftentimes you have so much space to roam around.
Yes.
Came here and I was literally just in a 2-bedroom apartment, and just it was so small that I'm just like, how do you even operate here? And then like the sense of community also.
Yes.
Like back then, you're able to run around. You can go to your neighbor's house and do
Your parents
whatever.
don't mind you because they know you at the neighbors,
But here you just come in and lock, and you're not really interact. So it was very difficult. But I feel like the conversation needs to be had because I blame a lot of, I feel like, people here because they go back home and there's like
and they just
so much flushing.
They just pretend and they ball
I'm
in.
telling you, bro. But it's just like people in Africa are actually living a higher quality life than I feel like people are
Say that
living.
again, please. Say that again.
Because like the balance, the work life balance is, I feel like, so much more favorable over there. And over there, if you have a little bit of money, you can
You good.
you can sustain.
You can sustain.
Over here, it's like a constant grind. You think you have money, but you really don't. Like you can make $4,000 or $5,000 a month, but all of that is going to rent and bills.
I just read an article that's saying that if you make $150, you middle class.
Yeah.
150K, now you just a little middle class type of
And
person.
how many people are actually making that? The average income is like what, 50K. So when you think about the expenses, especially living in New York, LA, anywhere,
Wow.
basically, like it's kind of crazy. But I feel like they don't understand it. They only think about the exchange rate.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'm spending as much as I am making. So there's no really, the balance is not there as much as it is,
So more your mission is to keep it real with the brothers and the sisters.
I have to. And so many people related to that. Even now, every single time I log into Instagram, somebody's sharing it. Like, yes, tell them. I'm like,
Yes.
we gotta keep keeping it a buck, because I'm not pretending to nobody. It's not as peachy as it might seem. I'm like, yeah, let's keep it a buck. Let's figure out how we can work together, because all this pretending thing is not happening. I'm like, yeah, it's not working for sure.
So we talked about, obviously African. Also in your content, there's a lot of like African Pan-African pride. Like, how do you feel in that environment as an African? Like, what makes you even push that even more within your content?
I feel like where we at now, I feel like we have to almost like play catch up.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for decades, almost centuries, we have been kind of like pinned against each other, and kind of like that. It's wild because it's even up to this day, I feel like there's no direct flight between, let's say, the continent of Africa to the Caribbean. I was saying it in the video.
No.
You have to go from Africa to somewhere in Canada or the US to go to the Caribbean. Like, that's just so crazy. And it's like, when you think about the Caribbean, who lives in the Caribbean? Black people, of course, And I just also feel like we are so much stronger together as
Amen to that.
like when we really come together as a collective. And I feel like there's so much lost time that we have to make up for.
Yeah.
And I feel like for so long we have been like, Black people everywhere have been kind of sort of like disrespected in a sense. And I feel like we
have to take that back.
We have to take that back, but we can't play into the narrative, and because the reality is, no matter if you're from Brazil, if you don't speak, oftentimes people cannot really tell you where you're from.
True.
So it's just like this whole idea, we create more of that division within ourselves rather than coming together and really seeing like, yo, we can actually really create such a harmonious relationship where like it doesn't really matter where you're from, as long as the color you're skin. That's how society is gonna treat you oftentimes. So it's just like, we might as well figure out how to come together and really pour into each other. So that's why I'm really, really big on just making sure that we are having that unity and having that discourse. I think is very, very important.
Yeah. So as we're talking about African pride, how do you balance in your content your aesthetic and also being authentic within this whole, social media environment?
The way I look at, aesthetics, I feel like, it's different than a lot of people.
Yeah.
For me, I am the aesthetic.
I'm not gonna say, you swaggy more. You got style, you can say it.
So the way I look at it is like, I am the aesthetic, and I feel as though you can kind of set the standard, you can set what people expect from you,
Yeah.
So for me, I live my life very authentically, and I feel like my community responds to that very well, So I don't need to necessarily be very posh all the time. I could go to my village and shoot content. I'm just gonna capture it in the best way possible.
Yeah.
But that's me. Whatever it is that I put out there, I feel as though that is what my definition of aesthetics. I don't have to necessarily try to fit into this mold of what a creator or what a successful creator is. For me, it's like there's so much more to life, and I feel like God has gifted me enough to be able to be born and be raised in such a diverse kind of like background as compared to everybody else.
As you're talking about your background, you're from Senegal and Gambia. How those cultural roots influence you even in the way you work?
Absolutely, because I grew up very poor. I would say financially
Financially unstable.
restricted.
Yeah,
You know, and so I didn't really have much. You know, I was born and raised in a the village that I was born in. We had to fetch water. There was no electricity. There was no running water. So, but even going through all those kind of like, I guess, difficulties or hardships, I saw that people had a lot of value
Yes.
within them. People had a lot of soul and
Yes.
a lot of integrity. And I felt like that molded me so much because even when you don't have much, you can still be a good, decent human
A
being.
good person.
And so that belief system is what I have been able to carry all throughout my life. And also my grandmother, I was raised by my grandmother pretty much all
Okay.
my life.
Okay.
And she just instilled these values within me that like she was such a she is such a kind, like amazing person that I feel like my goal is how do I live my life kind of showcasing the love and kind of just values that she instilled into me onto other people. How do I kind of like touch other people based on how she was able to kind of inspire and just motivate me to live life of the life that I'm living.
Many Africans and many people look at your contents. What do you think is your biggest, responsibility as being, I'm going to say a public person, as a person who has influence? What do you think your role for the main part is?
I feel as though I was actually talking about this in one of my videos I was shooting before, that a lot of us have this idea that we have to kind of create drama or like talk about negativity and all of this.
Yes.
I feel like my role, or at least the idea that I want to instill into people, is that you can be a person, you can be a voice of positivity, you can be a voice of
Absolutely.
reason, you can
Absolutely.
be a person that actually pour into your people and still be able to make it to the highest levels. It might be a little bit difficult, but
But it's worth it.
you don't have to tear other people down. You don't have to
Yeah.
tear each other down. You don't have to speak ill of your community. You don't have
Yeah.
to, speak ill of anybody to become the person that you want to become. So that's really one of the things that I'm super big on, just making sure to kind of relay that out there. And also the idea of like self-love, I feel like a lot of my content is kind of stems from a lot of hurt that I have been able to see in people.
Okay.
Being that a lot of, if you think about like even content topics that I talk about, such as skin bleaching and things of that sort, it's super like hyper rampant in Africa.
You'd be surprised.
It's crazy. And it's just like, when I think about the mindset, like what you have to go through to think to yourself that the way that God has created you is not enough and that you have to change it. And you having to go and put yourself through so many, you know, undesirable conditions to do that, because you are destroying your skin.
You're
and
killing
and
yourself.
risking skin cancer and all these other things. And it's just like, when I think about that, I'm like, there's so much like brainwashing that we have to like undo, that it's my job and my role as someone that was bullied, that once did not really like how I looked,
Yeah.
to really kind of help let people know that, like, if I was able to get to the point where I'm able to love myself, so can you.
Yeah.
So that's really what I find my content to be kind of like mainly geared towards, and how I feel really responsible.
Okay. That's very, I think, empowering and encouraging to hear that. We talked about earlier how you were into the wellness, industry, and also wellness is a topic that is growing even more within the African family. What principle of wellness do you live by, and how do you push that narrative within the African communities?
Yeah, I feel like the concept that I live by is less is more, and I feel as though, you know, it's so funny because in Africa, when I was in Africa, the things that I look at now and I'm like, stay away, were things that I used to dream about eating, you know what I'm saying? Or dream about drinking. Like, you think about soda and all of these things. Is in Africa, it's not even called soda. A lot of places called mineral. And then when you think about like eating a well-balanced diet, what do you think of? Vitamins and minerals.
Yeah.
And so it's just so funny when I think about it. I'm like, you can never now catch me
You got play.
going to like a KFC or like a McDonald's or any of these places really.
No.
But back home, that's when I was like, wow, like this is actually like burger. Like you can actually, so the things that I actually used to crave, now I'm looking at, I'm like, you can't even pay me enough to like,
To do that.
to do that. Like you can't, if you, I feel like if a soda company was to even try to book me to do, I wouldn't even do it, honestly. Like,
Wow, see?
no,
That's
seriously.
very, you know.
Like I'm super serious. I wouldn't do, cause I'm not, I don't want to endorse something that I don't necessarily indulge in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love hearing that you actually about, you know, about that, and you say, you know what? No, even if it's coming to get a check, like I live by my principle.
Oh,
I really like to hear actually, I like that that
I
you just, you know, make
tr-
that clear.
trust me, the amount of brands that I've had to actually turn down is crazy. Like I get reached out to so much. There's gambling companies, and if you
Oh
know,
wow.
they pay the most money. Like they have money to just throw away, to dish away, and it's like a consistent thing as well.
Wow.
But one of the things that I'm very big on community as well, and I know there's a lot of younger folks that follow me as well. But I don't want to, you know, sell out or necessarily, you know, endorse something that I know that is going to impact other people's lives just for me to be well off on myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like doing that is me having like a scarcity mindset that, you know, me not taking something that doesn't align with my values is like, it's something up, is an opportunity that's passing me by. Even deodorant, when it comes to deodorant, I wear oftentimes, like I only wear aluminum free. I don't wear like,
Me too.
yeah. So even deodorant companies would reach out to me and I would be like, no, it could be like, okay, boom, deodorant, but it's just like, that's not necessarily what I use. And I just want to make sure that like, whatever it is that I'm putting out there is something that is authentically
Yeah.
aligned to me. And if it's not, then no matter how much the money is, I will pass by, but I also know that, you know, there's gonna be another opportunity where I'm gonna be able to make that money by, but also not all money is good money as well. And so
Say that again.
I want to be able to really sleep good at night knowing that I'm speaking on anything or endorsing anything that I don't necessarily believe in.
Yeah. And you talked about, I want to ask you also, within the content, you talked about also your faith and things like that. How do you, you know, implement that also in your daily life, in your work,
Yeah.
your faith? Like, I know you also working on celibacy. Like,
Yeah.
how do that play in like a life of an influencer who got visibility? I'm sure probably you got your DMs probably,
Yeah.
you know, busy as well.
Yeah. I feel like it keeps me grounded, you know, being Muslim, it helped guide me so much into the life that I'm living now. And in terms of, you know, sometimes it's easy to get lost in the numbers. It's easy to get lost in, you know, the likes, the follows, and all of these things. But, you know, it allows me to know that like death is very real, you know, and no matter what you believe in, it also it lets me know that like tomorrow is not promised.
Tomorrow is
And it's
not
just like,
promised.
I feel like we owe it to ourselves and our community as well to live a life that is as impactful to us as it is to everybody else. And so when I think about some of the things that I've even been talking about a lot more when it comes to like sexual discipline and all of these things, where when it comes to oftentimes for men, like I was saying, growing up or anywhere in majority of societies,
Yeah.
men being hyper sexually promiscuous is something that's celebrated. And
Very much
I
so.
don't think people understand how destructive that is to our mindset, you know, because it's not something that you can just switch. You can't be going sleeping around and then thinking that you can just be monogamous when you choose to do so. It's your brain waves are already so disrupted that you have to spend so much more work kind of like disciplining yourself again to be able to be satisfied
that,
with
yeah.
one partner, you know. And so I feel as though, you know, being you know, Muslim just it has done for me so much more than I can possibly ever imagine, you know. And it just allowed me to just be able to disconnect and detach away, you know. Every Friday I go to the Jummah and I'm just able to just focus on me and focus on building and becoming a better person, as opposed to just constantly chasing away, chasing. It just allows me to just sit quiet a little bit and just focus on something else that doesn't have to do with worldly things. So
And I'm close to say, I mean.
yeah. Amen.
So what would you tell a younger version of Mo, for the young Mo that are still back home and they're dreaming about Europe and they're dreaming about their life? Like, what what would be your message for the younger Africans?
I think my thing is, you know, it was never my dream really to come to the US.
Really?
Yeah, it
What
wasn't.
was your dream place?
It wasn't. I never really. So my parents were. My dad actually came here before I was like a couple months before I was born. So I didn't meet my dad until I was like maybe 15, and my mom came here when I was 7. So oftentimes when I was young, or when I was a lot younger, I never really had any like dreams of like traveling out abroad or anything of that sort. For me, it was more so just whatever I did, I just wanted to do the best that I possibly could,
Okay.
and I feel as though that's one of the things that I was talking about in one of my other videos as well, that like that occupational elitism, where it's like people feel like they have to be just doctors or lawyers or engineers to be considered successful. But in whatever capacity, in whatever area, in whatever field you can be in, you can strive to be the best person that you can possibly be. You can be the best furniture designer. You can be the best, tile maker. You can.
Be the best electrician.
There's so many things that you can do. So if you just focus on excellence, there is no way that you will not succeed.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter how, impoverished the economy might seem. If you focus on excellence, if you focus on providing value to the highest quality,
You good?
there is no way you can succeed. Like I have this mindset that no matter where in the world that you put me in, I will succeed. I will succeed to the highest level, because at the end of the day, I'm just chasing excellence. I'm chasing how can I become better than I was yesterday in whatever I do. So just doing anything to the highest power, to the highest capabilities, will make you successful, and no matter what you do.
So as we're talking about this, what influence means to you, and what do you want in general your legacy to be about the content that you create, like a few years down the line? Like, what would you want your legacy to be?
I feel like my legacy, I would want for people to just know to live a life that is authentically them. Live a life that aligns with who you are, your values and your morals.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the same person with the cameras on and with the cameras off. So
I
it's
like that.
so much easier for me to just, I can, like, with people, oftentimes people say like burnout and all of these things, but I don't experience those things really, because
Okay.
it's like, I'm just living, I'm just documenting my
I'm
life.
just out here being
Yeah,
Mo.
I'm just out here just being Mo, and I feel as though there's so much power into that,
Yeah.
because you quickly realize that, like, oftentimes the things that we're chasing is not really as like it's not as glamorous as it might seem. I remember at some point I was like, oh, I want to get to a couple of 100,000. I want to get to 100,000 followers, and I got to 100,000 followers. I was like, this is it. Like, so
Nothing
just
changed.
5 minutes of like euphoric feeling, and then after that it's like done. And
Yeah.
after that, I was like, okay, this is obviously not what it was cracked out to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, I just started to just live a life a lot more. I've always been a lot more intentional in the way that I live, but after realizing that, I'm like, nah, I gotta kind of scale back and just enjoy life and live in the now and live in the present. So I would like to remind for people to just live a life that's authentically aligned with who they are, and just be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And understand that everything happens for a reason. There are no coincidences. So to just live life that's aligned with who you are. Yeah.
I like that. I think you should. I don't know if you do mentor young men, but you could do a lot of mentoring.
Yeah, I should look into it for sure.
So, looking ahead, what's next for Mo? Collaboration? Do you have an industry that you would love to tap in the future? Project?
I would so one of the things that I actually always wanted to do, one of the projects that I always wanted to do, was to go to just travel like to a lot of African countries, and just
Well,
yeah.
next time I go to Congo, let me know.
Okay.
I went to see the gorilla
Okay.
2 years ago. That was amazing.
I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to definitely. I want to just travel and just wear more like, just do almost like a photo book,
Yes.
wearing like culturally traditional, like I guess traditional cultural clothes for like men and stuff like that,
Yeah,
for like
wow.
from different tribes and different
Yes, yes, yes,
ethnic
yes.
groups and stuff like that. So that's one of the projects that I'm working on now. And but also overall, just I feel like just going back to Africa and just connecting with people back there,
Okay.
connecting with people out there, and just empowering our people. That's what I'm really very excited to do these days, because I feel as though, you know, I can only do so much, but if there's, 5, 10, 15 people that are kind of saying their message the way that they see fit, I feel
Yeah.
like we can definitely make a greater impact on everything, and I feel like just kind of inspiring people that, like, there's so much more. There's so much more that we can be doing on a consistent basis to
Yeah.
just, develop ourselves and help increase the kind of like awareness that it is around our people.
Yeah. You know what? I love the calmness of that interview. Like, he's just nice to listen, and I could just listen to you talk all day long, like
Thank you.
very positive. So to close that interview, I will say, give me even more positivity, and how do we end up this beautiful interview?
Yeah, I would say just kind of mirror what I was saying before, and I feel like for a very long time, and kind of just within our communities, we have this very like limited mindset, there's very limited belief. And I feel like oftentimes we feel like we have to pretend to be like somebody else, or pretend to, be like something else other than we are. The way I was born and raised, like I said, in the most uh, kind of like primitive way, in a sense. I did not have access to a lot of things. I didn't touch a computer until I was 15 years old.
Wow. Okay.
But I came here and I was like, if somebody else was able to do it and achieve the goals and kind of like the vision that they had for themselves, so could I.
Yeah.
And I feel like oftentimes, if you whether you believe in God or not, I feel as though there are universal laws, there are universal powers that don't necessarily need your permission to operate how they operate. Like,
Absolutely.
regardless of whether you're a good person or a bad person, if a person wants to jump out a window, you're gonna go straight down.
Yeah.
Gravity does not discriminate. And I feel like
Doesn't.
that's the same with the law of abundance and the law of you know uh, excess. You can literally manifest and visualize your dreams into reality. Like, uh, I just kind of started to really realize, like, a lot of the things that I'm doing now are things that I visualized when I was in my apartment, sharing room with my brother, and
Yeah.
you kind of like just laying down there and be like, what does my life look like?
Yeah.
And you know realizing, even when I didn't believe it, I knew that it was possible. And as long as you have that belief system, there's
Then you
literally
breathe.
nothing that can escape you, and everything that is meant for you will come out to you. So yeah, just manifest, visualize, and just believe in the higher power that it can get done.
Wow. I have one very, very last question, and I'm not gonna ask you if you can cook, because I know you can burn. I see,
A little something, a
I've been
little
seeing your
something,
video,
a
but
little
I
something.
ask all of my guests to teach me 3 words in the native language.
Okay. Okay. Is there any specific thing you want to learn?
No, you just,
Okay.
I literally learn in any random words.
Okay. Balalma.
Balalma.
Yeah, that's actually good.
That was
That was
good?
very good. Very, very
Balalma.
good. That means like sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, balalma.
balalma.
Yeah, and then what else? What else? Johma.
Johma.
Yeah, so that means like give me.
Johma.
Yeah, Johma.
Next time I go to Senegal, Johma.
Johma. Yeah,
Okay.
Johma. And Direjef.
Jërëjëf.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Oh, look
yeah.
at you.
No, I was like,
Okay.
I heard that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jërëjëf, yeah.
So I'll give you another one since you know that one. And Demal.
Demal.
Yeah, that means go.
Go. Demal.
Yeah, Demal, go.
Demal.
Yeah.
What was the first one again?
The first one was Balalma. Is it
Balalma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
Balalma.
Balalma. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got it. I'm gonna practice, and next time I'm with my Senegalese people, I'm gonna I'm gonna do them words, and they're
No,
gonna be
your
like,
accent is actually pretty good though.
yeah,
The
yeah.
way you pronounce is actually really, really
Oh,
great.
okay,
It's
thank you,
really good.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Mo, thank you for being with us today. I'm looking forward to see more of your positive contents, more of your swaggy style, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation today.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. I love what you're doing, by the way. It's really, really beautiful. I feel like you're capturing our stories in the most beautiful way.
Thank
And I
you.
feel like definitely you deserve your flowers for that. So appreciate you
Thank you.
so much for
Thank you
that.
very much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
for sure.